everybody. Anybody I did not, okay, anybody that I missed, I just want to welcome you and say thank you for attending. Um, Today's topic is fairly sensitive, but it is a needed conversation. So I just want to thank you for attending and being open-minded and understanding that although it's primarily hidden, we still got to talk about it. I'm ready for the next slide, Kim. Okay, so the Bloom, Bremen, Ridgetown, and Townships established, what is this? The BH Consent Decree. It was established in 1991 to address severe shortages of mental health services and substandard conditions at various residential treatment centers treating youth in care. Currently focused on addressing disproportionately, hold on, wait a minute. Okay, there we go. My screen, like it just blurred out. Currently focused on addressing disproportionality in the child welfare system, and also to reduce barriers to community-based mental health and educational support services. Next slide, Kim. The National Provider Network brings together providers, schools, and families across the U.S. to share resources, innovations, and data to improve access to education, mental health care, and economic stability for youth and families in our communities. The National Provider Network is sponsored in part by the Illinois Department of Children and Family Services, Permanency Enhancement Project, Family to Family Federation for Children's Mental Health, and COPE Cyber Lions, and supported by the University of Illinois Jane Addams College of Social Work, the Lions, and also the Lions Club International Foundation. The monthly meetings are usually co-hosted by Lion Miss Suzette, but today it's me, and we highlight various advocates, agencies, and organizations that are looking to collaborate on sharing resources that strengthen the outcomes in underserved communities. So today we're gonna do introductions. We have a couple of presenters that are gonna tell us about what the resources that they have. We're gonna do some breakout rooms, announcements, and then we're gonna end the meeting. So today, our presenters are going to be Ms. Carmen King from Cloveland Alliance, and I have Cynthia from Just Detention. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the Spider team and what we do and how this kind of ties into today's topic. I'm going to allow the presenters to give their own bios. That's how I'm going to do that. So since they are presenting, I'm going to start the introductions with Miss Cynthia.
Great, thanks everyone. So Ariel, do you want to let everyone else introduce themselves? And that, because once I start talking, I'd like to just go straight into my piece. And so I don't know if others need a moment to introduce themselves.
Okay, we can start with someone else. The first person I see on my screen is Dr. Ruby Powell. So we're gonna start with you.
All right, perfect. I am Dr. Ruby Powell. And what do you want us to introduce?
Just tell us who you are, what you do.
Okay.
Tell us whatever you want to tell us.
Cool. All right, I'm Dr. Ruby Powell. I apologize for not being on screen. And I am the founder and executive director of Oasis Empowerment Zone, which is a nonprofit organization that empower low-income single mothers to achieve self-sufficiency. I am also the founder and CEO of Dr. Ruby E. Powell and Associates, LLC, which is a coaching, counseling, and consulting firm that work with people who are stuck in their careers and help them to move past that stuckness to the next level, as well as working with businesses to ensure that their missions and their visions and their practice marry each other. And so I am Dr. Ruby Powell. I'm also a part of the Land 57 Steering Committee and a number of other things. And You want me to pass it to someone else? Or
yes, we're gonna We're gonna do it just like Miss Suzette does it. We're gonna toss the ball, so pass it to somebody else.
Okay, so the next person I see on my screen other than Cynthia is Carmen King. I'm going to toss the ball to her.
Okay.
Good morning. My name is Carmen King. I am the Director of Clinical Operations at Clove Alliance here in Kankakee, Illinois. We service victims, survivors, and significant others of sexual abuse. I am also nationally certified in trauma-focused cognitive behavior treatment and/or therapy. And I would now like to pass it to Tamiko Dockery.
Thank you, Ms. King. Good morning, everyone. This is Tamiko Dockery. I'm the Specialty Programs Liaison for both Hartgrove Behavioral Health System and Garfield Park Behavioral Hospital. Hartgrove Hospital serves adults and adolescents. We're known for our trauma program. And Garfield Park Behavioral Hospital is an 88-bed facility strictly for children and adolescents ages 3 to 17. And our specialty programs there include our Polaris program for our LGBTQ youth. That's our own inpatient unit. And then we also have our Worthy program for those kids that have been sex trafficked or are at risk of being sex trafficked. And then our third program is called YES, which stands for Youth Exhibiting Sexualized Symptoms. And so thus for those kids that usually are sexually inappropriate or sexually aggressive towards other kids at home, at school, and in the community. If you have any questions or like to speak with me later, you can contact me, DM me on this, or you can call me at 773-412-1848. Thank you.
Thank you. Tamiko, can you pick somebody else?
Yes, I will pick Brittany Ringo, please.
Okay.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. I'm Brittany Ringo. I'm one of the business development managers at Streamwood Behavioral Health Hospital. We provide inpatient and outpatient psychiatric care for children, adolescents, and adults. We are in partnership with River Edge Hospital, which is similar to our services under the corporation of UHS facilities. Streamwood has been around providing mental health care since 1991, and I'm fairly new to their team. I started back in May, and I was invited here by Suzette Wiley, and I'm just happy to be here.
All right. We're happy to have you. Can you pass it on to somebody else?
I pick, let's see, Allison Phillips.
Good morning. My name is Allison Phillips. I am in the business of financial services business. I'm in the business of helping families become financially independent and building generational wealth. I work in schools. Thank you. John?
Good morning, I'm John Patterson. I'm the BCFS Family Advocacy Center Outreach Coordinator for Cook County. And I will pass it to Ms. Chockley.
Hello, everyone. Sharice Chockley here, work for Northwestern University. I am the project coordinator for residential services and the TRIPME project. And I will pass it to, who hasn't gone yet? Kella Murphy.
Thank you, Sharice. Hi, I am Kella Murphy, and I bring wellness to individuals and to businesses or organizations, to either their target audiences or to themselves. And I do that as a yoga practitioner and as a Reiki practitioner. You can find me under the Social Clinic, and I'll spell that as SOULCIAL, and under Walking with the Ancestors on Instagram. Thank you. And I also work with Kim, so I'm part of the steering committee also. Okay, let me put that out there. Great day, everyone. And the next person, let's see. I think everyone has gone. Ariel, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
That's me. I realized that I didn't say anything and introduce myself. So I'm sorry about that.
Earlier, I didn't go.
Oh, okay, go ahead, Kristen. I'm sorry, we couldn't hear you. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Kristen Hatley. I'm the founder of I Love Myself with CP and ADHD Networking Group. I'm in COPE and I'm in the land.
All right, well, Kristen, we are always happy to have you. Always. Put your information in the chat so we'll have it, okay, Kristen?
Did Kim go already?
I don't think so, and Lakia didn't go, and I'm not sure did Brittany. Now I'm looking at the names, I'm not sure Brittany went. Lakia?
Yeah.
Is she still here or is she gone?
Oh, I'm here. I think Kim was trying to go, so I was just being quiet.
Go ahead, Lakia.
Well, hey everybody, my name is Lakia Colquitt. I am the CEO and founder of Promoted Parent. We help parents of disabled children work from home. We work both here and in Nigeria. There we do microfinance. And I am also in pursuit of my LCSW. So on the side, I am a therapist. Nice to meet everyone.
Yes.
So I'll go. I'm Kimberly Haynes. I'm actually the convener for Land 53 and the National Provider Network. I'm the director for Family to Family Federation for Children's Mental Health, as well as a member of the COPE Cyber Alliance. So welcome, everyone. I will be your technical support for today. And I don't know. I don't think there's anyone I need to pass it to.
No, Kim, I was just getting ready to say that I completely did not introduce myself. I just said hello. So I should have said that my name is Ariel and I am a part of the Spider team under Northwestern University. Sharice and I used to work together on the Spider team together, and she has just advanced to a different department, and I am still on the Spider team, but we work in conjunction with DCFS. And so I'm going to explain a little bit about what we do later on after the other two presentations. I'm going to go last. Okay, so Kim, were you about to say something else?
No, ma'am.
Okay, well, Cynthia, the floor is yours.
Great, thank you, everyone. You can take down the slide. Thank you. So I work at Just Detention International. My name is Cynthia Totten. I am based in JDI's Washington, D.C. office. Our main office is in Los Angeles, and we also have an office in Johannesburg, South Africa. The focus of our work is around bringing an end to sexual abuse in detention settings. And so that means sexual abuse and sexual harassment against people who are held in detention settings, whether that's prisons or jails or community confinement or police lockups or youth detention facilities, even including situations where people are not in a brick and mortar building but are not free to leave, such as when one has been detained on the street. And so I think my kind of purpose here today, what I hope to do is, especially kind of hearing the work that some of you all do, is to see if I can help to kind of sharpen the point around, youth detention. It sounds like a lot of you are already doing work, great work, right? In and around working with youth, working for their safety, their well-being, their mental health. And so really what I do, fits right in there in that, because we know about all the pipelines. We know about all the ways that Black and brown children are more likely to end up in detention to begin with. We know that they're more likely to be adultified and treated as adults and, not treated as children who are worthy of safety and protection and dignity. So if I can answer questions and talk to you all in a way that helps just kind of fill out that through line around some of the different systems that you're working in, and helps kind of bring greater awareness to what's happening inside these detention settings that are so closed, right? And where, our kids kind of go and so often are forgotten about. Then I think I will have accomplished my mission. And I am happy to answer questions and share resources. And, I'm humbled to be here among kind of all of you and the amazing work that you're doing. So when it comes to youth, what we do know is that just like with adults, sexual abuse is a major problem in this country inside youth detention facilities. We know that typically what we're talking about is sexual abuse that is carried out by a staff person, not another child. Although, of course, there is abuse that happens by other kids. We know that kids who are LGBT or gender non-conforming, kids who have a disability, kids who have already experienced sexual abuse before sort of being in the detention system are all at a higher kind of risk of experiencing sexual abuse. They're more likely to be targeted. Any child who is especially marginalized in that setting and is perceived as being kind of less likely to speak up and sort of, more easier to kind of target or take advantage of in that way is going to be at a greater risk for sexual abuse. And we know that a lot of the abuse that happens, it looks a lot like it does in schools, right? It's not a violent attack in a shower or a violent attack in someone's room. It's grooming. It's very much kind of well thought out, premeditated, honing in on a child in inappropriate ways that break boundaries, right? Showing them inappropriate pictures, talking about sex, talking about having some sort of special feeling or special connection with that child, doing favors for them, treating them in a way that's different than the way that other children are treated. Those are all kind of, inappropriate touch, inappropriate, people dressing in ways that's not necessarily appropriate. That can be one of the early signs, right? So sort of someone who's not maintaining and adhering to the boundaries of professionalism and kind of, acting in a way that's appropriate for an adult professional who's interacting with a child who has already, in most cases, experienced tremendous trauma before they ever cross the threshold of that detention setting. And so I don't want to talk a whole lot. I would love to hear questions from you all. There's a lot that I can say. I think what I would like to do is try to show a brief video. It's only about 2 minutes long. And I am mindful of the fact that, I might start showing the video and it might be really glitchy. So I just want to try and see. And then I can tell you a little bit about the person who you will see in the video. And then I would love to just, answer questions or help kind of make these, some of these connections around these different systems and how this all works, right? Because it's not by accident. These systems are all kind of intermingled, and we know the racism and the histories that are behind them and that undergird them, and that our children shouldn't be locked up to begin with. So let me try to share this video with you. So anyways, that video is very short, and Troy is a member of our Survivor Council because all of our work is informed by the experiences and the voices and the expertise and the sort of lived wisdom of people who have been incarcerated or have been in a detention setting and are survivors of sexual abuse and identify as survivors of sexual abuse and are comfortable and want to, talk about their experiences and sort of what changes need to occur safer, to make facilities safer. And I think, part of why I wanted to share that video, Troy hones in on the importance of rape crisis advocates coming into facilities. And the reason that he talks about rape crisis advocates is that there's a law called the Prison Rape Elimination Act, or PREA. And that law requires that corrections agencies, all types of corrections entities, including youth detention agencies, make an effort, a meaningful effort, to partner with rape crisis programs or other types of victim services programs in the community to provide confidential services for folks who are inside. And so, that sort of message about making sure that advocates are coming inside, whether coming inside means physically to provide, one-on-one counseling sessions or via hotline or letter, is sort of critically, important, right? You can't say enough about that, not just for the sake of getting those services to those individual survivors, but also what it does for culture change, what it does to open up facilities that are closed and where people are so sort of thoroughly forgotten in our society. And so I want to emphasize that. I know that this call, probably not many folks on here are rape crisis advocates, but some of you are working with advocates. Some of you, have other types of roles where, especially in the youth detention context, you may in fact have an opportunity to do some work inside of a facility. And I would strongly encourage you to take advantage of those opportunities, because your presence, especially if you or your colleagues are people that kids inside can have a conversation with confidentially, the importance of that cannot be overstated. The mental health services that are typically provided inside youth detention are not focused. I mean, surprisingly so, right? Given how prevalent we know sexual abuse is among children in general, but then especially children who are in the detention system. The mental health services that are provided inside are not focused on helping children heal from that. It's much more focused on addressing addiction or addressing suicidality without really kind of looking at some of the underlying issues and making sure that you have access to services where children can really talk about and begin to heal from sexual abuse. Carmen, you have your hand raised.
Yes, thank you for the information. At one point, we used to be able to go into our local detention facility here, but the administration at the jail has stopped that. I mean, every time we tried to get in, they give us a runaround. So I think it's been almost like 2 years since the residents there have been able to receive any services. Can you give us any guidance on what we can do to, get back in, or where can we start with that, please?
Yeah, so Carmen, remind me where you're at again.
I'm in Kankakee, Illinois, and we are
in Kankakee. I know someone there who I might know one of your colleagues. So what is the program that you work with? I'm sorry, I know you said it before, but
Clove Alliance. We are a rape crisis center in Kankakee County.
Okay.
We provide services.
So, unfortunately, there's not a sort of sure-proof way to get in. But I think that, again, being mindful of the fact that this is something that facility is required to do, to have meaningful sort of engagement with you around, you and your colleagues being able to come inside and provide services for the folks who are being held at the jail. In terms of how to, it's especially tough with jails. Jails often have this perception that they don't need to actually comply with the Prison Rape Elimination Act, but that's simply not accurate. And, they are supposed to be audited every 3 years by an independent auditor who comes in and assesses all aspects of their compliance with the Prison Rape Elimination Act, including around access to victim services. So, I think those are the types of things that you can, sort of talk about or remind them of, is that responsibility to comply with PREA, to be audited. If they are undergoing an audit, you can talk with the auditor and let them know that this is a complete kind of missing piece in their compliance with PREA. I'd be happy to talk with you more offline, but those are just some initial thoughts around how you might approach it. Ariel?
Thank you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Ariel?
I just had a quick question. Earlier in your presentation, you were talking about different things to look out for, and you were saying something to the effect of watching how people dress. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Like when you were talking about how a person is dressing, I wanted you to go a little bit deeper in that so I can make sure I was understanding.
Okay. Yeah, I was just referring to professionalism. I remember that I was doing some work with a youth detention facility in Delaware. And the administrator, the head of the facility, said to me, sometimes it starts as simply as you have, especially with women staff. And again, just knowing that the data show that so much of the abuse is perpetrated by women staff. I'm not trying to pick on women in any way. So one of the things that this administrator was pointing out is that, again, it's subtle, right? And it's the fact of boundaries not being maintained is really kind of, at the core of this, and kind of the earliest signs that you will see, because this abuse is not sort of inherent, right? It's not something that has to happen. It's something that's preventable. And when you have a facility where there's an emphasis on appropriate boundaries being maintained, you can keep kids safe. One of those boundaries is around the way you present yourself, right? So when I said not dressing properly, I didn't mean the kids, I meant the adults, the staff. It might be a matter of, someone having on, let's say, for example, a blouse and it's a little bit too low cut, it's showing a little bit too much cleavage. Those types of things where you can kind of tell early on, like, look, this might be a person who's not quite prepared to maintain the appropriate boundaries.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Cynthia, thank you so much for your presentation. Does anyone have any more questions for Cynthia? She has to step off shortly. So if you do have any questions for her, now will be the time to ask, because unfortunately she won't be available for the breakout rooms. Okay, well, if you do want to reach out to Miss Cynthia, she has left her information in the chat. Next up, we have Miss Carmen King from Clove Alliance.
Good morning, everybody. Again, my
Hey.
name is Carmen King. I'm the Director of Clinical Operations at Clove Alliance. We are a rape crisis center, and we provide free and confidential services to victims, survivors, and/or significant others of sexual abuse. Our hiring requirements are bachelor's level and also a master's level. Our staff here, I direct a team of 5, including myself. So we're not a real large facility, but we do have a tremendous amount of requests for services. We also provide services in Watseka, which is in Iroquois County, and also in Fort County, which is in Paxton. Those are our 2 satellite offices. It looks like they're trying to pull up my PowerPoint. Are you pulling up the PowerPoint? Okay, I'm past that one. I recently received my certification in TFCBT. I don't know if any other providers are familiar with that, but that's trauma-focused cognitive behavior therapy and/or treatment. And that promotes the client to have a caregiver or a family support do therapy with them. So that's awesome. Can you guys move forward with the slide? Okay. This is just a list of our staff that we currently have in the counseling department here at Clove Alliance. These are the current qualifications for our sexual assault counselor and/or therapist. The difference is, of course, if you have the bachelor's degree, you'll be considered a counselor, master's degree, therapist. Our caseload here at Clover Alliance, we try not to overwhelm our counselors and or therapists, but we do have a formula that we use to come up with the caseload. And it's for a full-time counselor or therapist, it's 23. If you're part-time, we kind of average that around maybe like 15. We have an intake coordinator who is the first contact that all of the clients have with our agency. And the intake coordinator set up appointments based on the availability of the counselor and or therapist. Our primary goal of counseling services here is victim-centered, which we allow the clients to lead the process of their counseling sessions. We also let them decide what they would like to talk about, what information is most important, that they feel is most important, not what we feel is most important. All of our services are trauma informed. We do not diagnose or assess our clients. We just really empower the victim by allowing them to make their own choices and supporting their decisions. Our services are also culturally competent. We are sensitive to all populations. And the age, you can start services here as early as 3 years old. Move forward the slide, please. So who is suitable for services? Any individual who identifies as a victim or survivor of sexual abuse, trauma and or violence, or their significant others. So it could be, you know, if your daughter was sexually abused and the mom wants to come in for service, they would qualify. So that significant other would be anybody who's impacted by the client's abuse can also receive services here at Clover Alliance. Move forward the slide, please. We provide, these are the types of counseling services that we provide. We do couple, individual, group, and family. Move forward the slide, please. And the methods of counseling are in person, telephone, and virtual through Doxy.me. COVID really helped us put the other options in place. Our psychoeducation material is designed for children 8 and under who has no sexual disclosure. So sometimes we'll get parents that will call and say, you know, my son or daughter was with their dad over the weekend, or they were with a babysitter, and they came home and these are some of the things that they are kind of showing signs. And I'm just kind of worried that maybe something took place. So what we currently offer now is information education curriculum where we will work with those families that don't have any sexual disclosure. We use books like Uncle Willie Tickles, Maya's Secret, and My Body is Private. And those are usually just 3 sessions of 30 minutes. And we review that, and the focus mainly on those is just education. However, if the client discloses at any time during the psychoeducation, of course, that will change, and we will see them as a client for sexual abuse. Our referrals come from the following sources. They come from hospitals. Our advocacy department meets the victim at the hospital and explains the rape kit to them and remain with them at the hospital until that entire process has been completed. We do have a 24-hour hotline that is manned by a live person 24/7. So a lot of times we get our referrals from the hotline calls as well. Schools, social workers, counselors, principals, doctors' offices also give us a call if they suspect that there might be some sexual abuse might have taken place. Also through social service agencies, DCFS, ACOM, which is a local community outreach mission here. We also receive referrals from our children advocacy, the Child Network, After the interview, if a child has discloses, the child network sends a referral over and we then reach out to the family. Our referrals also come from community outreach events when we're out in the community, getting our name out there. A lot of times people will come up and say, you know, hey, this happened to me. How can I, you know, get on the wait list, or how can I get in for services? Here at Clove Alliance, we work really hard to dismantle barriers. We understand that there are a lot of roadblocks that get in the way of our clients being able to continue with services here. So we do offer bus tokens to our clients who need to get to and from counseling services. We also provide gas cards. Some of our clients come far to, you know, in person for counseling, so we provide gas cards. We also partner with a Loving Lyft, that's a local ride share that will pick up and drop off our clients for sessions. We also go into the schools if the parents request it, and if they have the confidential space, we go in and provide those confidential services to the clients there. And we also go into social agencies such as assisted living facilities and nursing homes. Again, we used to be able to go into the jail, but right now it's not a service that we provide at this time. I think that's it. Do you guys have any questions or comments for me?
Actually, I do. When you mentioned that you all go into the senior living facilities and nursing homes, I'm not sure, so that's why I'm asking, are there instances of sexual abuse in nursing homes and senior living facilities? Or high rates, or?
No, I can't speak to the high rates that they have. Most of the clients that we've had, this is something that happened to them as a child.
Okay.
And now that, you know, there's a huge awareness around sexual violence and mental health, they reach out to the services because they want to be able to talk about the things that happened to them as a youth that, you know, wasn't discussed in the home at that time.
Okay. Okay. Does anyone have any more questions for Ms. Carmen? And Cynthia also has put something in the chat. So please check the chat.
Yeah, I just wanted to encourage you, Carmen, you know, one way possibly to engage with the jail and also to kind of deepen your services in the community is to really hone in on folks who are getting out or who are just otherwise formally incarcerated, and letting the jail know that you have those services for folks who are getting out. Might be a way to, you know, try to build that relationship a little bit. Perhaps they could include your information in materials that they're giving to folks who are being released. So, you know, and connecting with reentry organizations, doing things like that, that sort of, you know, increase your profile among formerly incarcerated folks.
Thank you. I will do that. Thank you so much.
Okay, so now I'm just going to give you a really quick synopsis of what we do on the Spider team. I think the other person, nope, Emma's here. Hi, Emma. I, myself, and formerly Sharice used to work together on the Spider team. We are under Northwestern University, but we are partnered with DCFS as well. So Spider Team is a social services database. It's like a resource database, kind of like the Google for social services. And one of the sectors that we work heavily with is sexual abuse. And so if there are any services that anyone may be in need of course, you know, a lot of these agencies are confidential, but if you're in need of something, looking for something, or need something for someone else, we do want you to look to Spider. I'm gonna put the website in the chat so you can check it out. It's super user-friendly, no passwords, usernames, nothing, just it's geocoded so everything is accurate. So we just gonna put it in the search look for what you want in that particular area, whether it's Clove Alliance or whomever else, and we are actually working to add more resources. So if you know of an agency that you do not see housed in Spider, you can let us know. But I'm just going to put it in the chat, and at your leisure, I want you to take a moment and check out Spider. And Emma and Sharice, if I left something out, please let me know because my mind is racing. Did I forget anything? Is Emma still here? Can she hear me? Emma?
Yeah, no, that was a good quick rundown.
As always,
Okay.
Ariel's on point.
Thank you. Okay, Kim, should we go ahead and do the breakout rooms?
So I'm thinking, I know that, one of our speakers has to leave. So I don't know if we want to just kind of use this space here to take a few minutes to, allow people to kind of speak on the topic, or, maybe to ask any questions. And I am personally not against moving forward with the agenda and giving you good folks at least a good 35, 40 minutes of your day back.
Okay. I'm with it. Whatever works best. Yeah, she does have to leave. So
I wanted to ask Ms. Totten a question, if I could.
Yeah.
What sparked your passion for this work?
Well, I'm a survivor of childhood sexual abuse. My brother was in prison, just various things like that. I mean, I'm trained as an attorney, and I was working at a big law firm, and I really wasn't very happy. And I got the opportunity to do a fellowship program focused on women's rights. And I was placed at an organization called Human Rights Watch, and I was assigned to follow up on some research that had been done on the issue of sexual abuse of women in California prisons. And so I got the chance to go to California and, talk to women just living in unbelievable conditions inside these prisons back in 1999. And that's always stayed with me, just those meetings that I had with those women and what they had been through. And then just, again, my own experience and my brother and sort of that intersection around sexual abuse and, the criminal legal system and wanting to make a difference.
Thank you. You mentioned that you were a survivor of childhood sexual trauma. I always tell my clients, when they come in for therapy that, this is a relationship between you and I, and we're working to build a therapeutic relationship. I never leave them with a fantasy that I'm the healer. So my question is to you, what was it that helped you respond differently to the symptoms of trauma that you experienced?
So for me, I don't know if I'm answering your question, but for me, like once that abuse happened, that was, sort of, I experienced abuse more than once, but the main sort of abuse that I'm talking about was when I was 13. And so from then on, I was someone who was highly functional and I was very successful, like sort of, from the outside, but I was a mess inside. And then finally, like when I got to law school, I realized again, I was in law school, like I was, the picture of success, but inside I was falling apart. And so finally I sought out therapy and disclosed to a therapist what had happened. But then, it was a trajectory of years of therapy, and especially with good therapists. And so that's, I think, what helped me, right? So I think me now versus me back in, 1990 or whatever, it's almost, two different people and on some level, because I've been able to heal and I have a lot of privilege. I'm someone who, like a lot of us, right? I've gone to good schools, I've gotten to do things, I've had privilege. In a way that, my brother didn't have that same privilege. And that's how he ended up in the prison system, where we didn't grow up in the same households. So it's, but I was a mess until I sat down and got some good therapy. It wasn't going well. So yeah, that's what helped.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. Does anyone else have anything that they want to share or contribute to Cynthia and Miss Carmen before we go ahead and break out into the sessions, the breakout rooms?
Okay, I did have a question for Miss Carmen. She mentioned 3 books that were done in psychoeducation, and I wanted to know if she could put those 3 books in the chat or repeat them again so that I could pick them up for my practice.
Maya's Secret, which is extremely hard to find. Uncle Willie Tickles. And My Body is Private.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm writing them down too. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, I do understand there are a few people that are saying they have to step out. So Kim, can we go ahead and kind of break out into the breakout session if anybody has any questions for myself or Miss Carmen?
Thank you, Ariel. So
And
I know that we have a pretty intimate group today, and I think that there's been a lot of questions and answers right here in the main body of the meeting. So I think if everyone's comfortable with it, we can move forward with the agenda. And I think if you guys would like to do a breakout session and speak with one of the speakers more privately, I can just kind of do a quick, if you can just do the hand raise button, and we can definitely set up the rooms. The rooms have already been set up, so I can open those, and we do have a little bit of time. So I will kind of go with the flow of the group at this point.
I like that. Yeah, that's
So
perfect.
we'll do like we're in the classroom. Put a finger up if you would like to open up the breakout rooms. Oops.
Excuse me, I'm multitasking. I'm sorry.
Okay. So seeing that we don't have any fingers, I will ask both of our speakers to please re-enter your information into the chat box. People who may have come in a little bit later won't have access to any of that information that came in earlier. And so we do want to make it a safe space that if someone wants to reach out to you privately, that they have your information up, right here in the chat box. And with that being said, I will take us into the announcement section of the day. And I think I'm going to echo an email that went out. Normally what we try to do is send out a recording of the meeting, as well as a link to a Google Drive that usually holds any announcements that you guys send to us for the current meeting. Due to some technical difficulties, I will just tell you, I don't know what happened to last month's meeting. It wasn't in the cloud. It wasn't in my hard drive. So we don't have it. So we did send out an email to everyone that was in attendance last month to ask them if they would please resubmit, because it was a really good meeting and there was information that people were wanting to share. With that being said, I do want to announce that we have started a new email address for the purpose of receiving any of your announcements through the month. Of course, this meeting occurs the third Thursday of each month, so you want to try to get those announcements emailed over. And that email address is info.nationalprovidernetwork@gmail.com. It does not receive any private information. There's no dominoes, coupons. The only thing that we should be receiving is what you guys send us. And we will take those and add any, if you send an attachment, we will add those to a Google Drive and make that available to the attendees that participate in the upcoming meeting. With that, I would also like to welcome, we have brought on 2 new members to the team. As Ariel explained, this meeting is sort of a combination between the work that we are doing as the LAN, which covers Bloom, Bremen, Rich, and Thornton Township, and the DCFS Permanency Enhancement Team. So technically, LAN 53 is the Permanency Enhancement Team, where what we're looking at as a committee is how we can address disproportionality within Black and Brown children who are finding themselves intersecting with the Child Welfare Service. So, we definitely invite you all to consider becoming members of the steering committee. We do meet separately once a month, and I will send that link out to you all. This time we'll make sure you get it. So please join us for that. That is the committee that kind of takes and kind of helps to guide the direction for the work that we do. And at this point, we are trying to move forward to look at ways that we can secure funding. Want to welcome Kella Murphy. Hi, Kella. Kella is a former colleague of mine. We have both recently retired from Lions Clubs International. Lots of experience in international communications. And so I have really worked hard to get Kella over. And so she has agreed to work with us as the new chairperson for our communications committee. We definitely want to make sure that as we're coming together and providing this platform, that we're giving our speakers a professional look, that we are making sure that we're providing access to our schools and our community partners for all of the services that you guys are offering, and really building those relationships so that we can do our role with respect to preventing abuse, preventing neglect, and helping people who are in need of services. We also have brought to the team a young lady by the name of Lacey Olson. Lacey is out of North Carolina. So she is going to also be doing some consulting work with Family to Family to help digitize some of our communications so that we can make sure you guys are getting things on a regular and timely basis. So you guys will be seeing some things. And I think this is the meeting that you guys will start to see a little bit more structured follow-up. We will not meet in December. We will meet next month, but we will not meet in December. We know that that's a really crazy time for everybody. So we don't want to, drag people from their holiday celebrations to come sit in on the meeting. When we resume back in January, we're hoping that we will have, be able to give you at least a quarterly agenda with the upcoming speakers. And we're also looking to add CEUs because we've had some really great presenters that have really been able to give some really valuable information. And we know a lot of the attendees need these CEUs for their credentials, for their continuing certification. And we're hoping that it's also an incentive for you all to invite your colleagues, invite your friends, and please continue to make recommendations for people who you think would be good presenters. Also on Friday, which is tomorrow, one of the school districts that we've done a lot of work with, which is District 156 in Calumet City. We have really worked with them through a number of grants to develop sort of this model community school partnership. So they are hosting their second annual awards banquet where they recognize community partners as well as their teachers and staff who are doing phenomenal work around school climate and culture and around social and emotional learning. The event is free. There will be food. You guys are invited. I will drop the link. You can email me and let me know if you'd like to attend. It's going to be in Calumet City. And one of the things that they're doing this year is actually offering a brief tour of the building so that other schools and providers can really kind of get a visual of the work that they've been doing. So you guys are invited to that. We are also looking to reestablish the wraparound committee. So for those that are not familiar with the wraparound committee, the wraparound is the process, and I think most people probably know what it is, but we really want to strengthen the relationship that we have with our schools and community partners and being able to help them access things such as the SPIDER database, but also to kind of provide that support to help families plan for recovery and wellness. and provide them with really soft referrals. We all know that we can give someone an 800 number, but it's always a lot more impactful when we can make a recommendation to a service that we all believe in, that is staffed by people who we're familiar with and that we know goes the extra mile in making sure that our families are supported and provided with the services that they're looking for. So we'll be working with Ariel to try to make sure that at least the presenters and the attendees who come to our meetings over the last year or so, that we're going to help with doing some more specific outreach to try to get those services either updated or added to the SPIDER database so that we're able to make referrals to organizations that are still up and running, that are still receiving referrals, and that the information that they have on the SPIDER database is relevant. So those are all of the announcements that I have. I put the updated email address in the box. Please copy and paste that so that as you guys are having events or offering new services, or even if you want to just submit flyers that can be shared with the other attendees, we just want to make sure that your participation is as much as a benefit to growing your programs and services as it has been for us to grow this network. So with that, I will stop talking.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you so much. I just wanted to thank everybody for coming. I wanted to say something really quickly. The purpose of me picking this subject, I know it was it can be difficult, but if it's you that needs healing, if it's somebody you know that needs healing, or just anything like that, please do not hesitate to reach out to Cynthia or Miss Carmen, or visit SPIDER and look for a resource that is applicable to you, and get the healing that you need. We're not trying to keep the Band-Aids on, we're ripping them off and it's time to heal. So if anybody needs any help, please do not hesitate to use any of these resources.